Hello, social investors. Today, we're going to be talking all about duplicate content and what it means to your general online presence as well as your social media presence. Now, this topic came up after I was speaking with somebody and they asked me about it, and I was quite honestly a little bit surprised. But it makes a lot of sense because even as business owners, we've probably heard a lot about duplicate content and how harmful it can actually be to our online presence. Now, the Content Club is based largely on templates. So we've got templates for the artwork, templates for the captions, and even a blog post that I supply to every member once a month. So the question is really valid as far as, hey, is the Content Club content going to be harmful to me in any way? So today we're going to talk all about that. I decided let's just hit this nail right on the head and discover what's myth and what's truth. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Janae Ortiz. I am an investor and also a professional internet marketer. And I've helped thousands of investors start, build, and expand their businesses using online marketing strategies. If you are watching this, please do me a favor and tap the like button if you found this information useful. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps me out a ton. I also answer all comments and questions, so feel free to comment. Before I became an investor, I owned a web design and marketing agency. We helped our clients with pay-per-click campaigns, social media, and of course, search engine optimization. SEO was by far our bread and butter. And that's simply because social media just wasn't the marketing tool that it is today. Today, it's a phenomenal marketing tool. And I actually did an entire live stream where I talked all about search engine optimization versus social media. So if you're interested about how the two compare, definitely check out that live stream. But I learned a ton because, like I said, this was our bread and butter. And so we had to do it really well. I had to learn a ton about what was good content for search engines and what they would actually like and what would help us get ranked. And duplicate content was a very real factor. And it was something that we had to consider when we were running these very large SEO campaigns. What you may also have heard is that, hey, duplicate content is going to get you penalized. It may also get you banned, and it could keep you from getting found. And then, of course, there are headlines like this, where Facebook quietly tweaks its algorithm and penalizes those who copy and republish. So that's worrisome. That could be quite concerning if you saw this. So let's tackle these bullets first before we dig into the social media side of things. First of all, these bullets are in reference to SEO. And the purpose of SEO is, of course, to provide the best information that most closely matches the search and the searcher's intent. And there are a lot of factors that go into this, including how popular the site is, how trustworthy the site is, and of course, the keywords that are inside of the content. There's also this factor of source origination. Where did all of this content come from? Is it original or was it copied from some other place? Well, search origination is not actually a ranking factor. In fact, it has nothing to do with ranking at all. It is simply the way that Google knows how to attribute any SEO value. So it says, okay, let's take a look at this post. I see the site's trustworthy. It's got good content. It's got providing good value. It matches the keywords, intent, and all of that. I don't see any other site out there that matches this. So we're going to give this site the value, the SEO value for this content. And that's it. Google doesn't actually penalize for duplicate content at all. In fact, all of this is a big myth. You can actually copy the content if you wanted to and put it on your own site. There are some things to consider with that as well, though. So this is what Google says about duplicate content. And I'm going to read this. Duplicate content on a site is not grounds for action on that site unless it appears that the intent of the duplicate content is to be deceptive and manipulative to search engine results. So the fact is, like I said, you can use anyone's content on your site. As long as you don't add any code to it to try to trick Google or the algorithm or anything like that. You also don't want to try to trick the people who are coming to your site and reading it. Now, I'm not going to get into those, what we call black hat tactics, because they're complicated. And, honestly, we don't even need to know what's inside of that ball of wax. So the caveat with this, of course, is that you should definitely credit the original source. So if you copy a blog post from Redfin, let's say, and you put it on your website, credit Redfin, because the last thing that you want is for Redfin to come after you because you are stealing their content. But I do know that people are going to get quite protective of their content if you copy it without attribution. Now, the second that you do that, when a visitor comes to your website and they read that blog post and they realize you are not the author, then you're not going to gain any credibility in their eyes. You are not going to gain any authority with that blog post. The original author is going to get all of that authority and all of that credibility. So not only are you not going to get any points from Google for having a blog post, for any search engine optimization for that blog post, but when your visitors read that blog post, you're not going to get any credit from them either. The blog posts inside of the Content Club are not created in any kind of way to deceive the search engines or the people who read those articles, nor do we give any advice to our members about how to do such things. It's primarily just content for you to use on your site to help you build the credibility, because I also don't require any attribution. And so when a user comes to your site and they read your blog post, for all they know, you are the originating source. You do get the credibility and the authority. You may not get the SEO value because another investor may have posted it before you. And so for them, it's going to be the first original post. But as long as we're not doing anything deceptive, then you are not going to get penalized, and you are going to get credit from the people who visit your website as having real estate authority. Now let's take a look at that social media side of things. This headline is quite alarming, right? It's actually going to penalize people who copy and republish. Now this headline, just to know some context around it, it was published in 2018. And the article is all around how Facebook at that time was really struggling to keep a handle on fake news and to get the fake news out of the news feed. If you do end up reading the article, and if you're interested, I'm happy to provide links to anything that I'm presenting here. But what the article actually says is, from Facebook, we're rolling out an update so people see fewer posts, those are the social media posts, that link out to low quality websites or low quality sites that predominantly copy and republish content from other sites without providing unique value. It is in no way directed at the social media post itself. It's actually directed at the websites on the other side of that post. Because at the time in 2018, there was a lot of social media posts created that was linking out to these fake news sites, and Facebook just didn't want that. And they didn't want to be associated with it. And they were doing their best to try to keep fake news out of their feed. That is what Facebook is doing with duplicate content. It's actually not doing anything with it. Social media is meant to be shared, reposted, and reused across all platforms. In fact, it is the way that social media was meant to be. It's social. So you should be sharing stuff and reusing stuff and republishing stuff. That's how it's meant to be used. So here are the facts. Duplicate content will not get you penalized. It will not get you banned, and it will not keep you from getting found. So I hope that you found this useful. I hope that the information that I've presented here kind of helps you put your mind at ease, especially if you are using other people's posts to populate on your own website or something like that. The fact is, you can keep doing that and it's okay, but you do have to attribute the original author, especially if you're copying it from somebody's website who hasn't given you permission to republish their stuff. Please do comment below if you have any questions. Like I said, I will answer all questions.